Welcome back, guys. Today we are going to learn about timeouts present in Protractor. Basically, what are the things we are going to learn is what are timeouts and what types of timeouts present in Protractor and how to use them and negative scenarios for them, like when those timeout exception occurs. So these are the things we are going to see in this video. So without any further delay, let's start this one. So what is timeout? Basically timeouts are something like we are giving a time bound for any particular operation. So when the operations are not happening within the time bound, then we are getting the timeout errors. Okay, so this is the one of the topic requested by our one of the viewer. So let's cover all the timeouts present in Protractor. So let's see what are the timeouts present in Protractor. Okay, so I have copied it here. Let me put it in our file. So there are 5 types of timeouts. One, Selenium server start timeout, and second one is allScriptsTimeout, and then third one is getPageTimeout, and the last one is highlight delay. So these 4, the first 3 and the last one, belong to Selenium. Okay, basically Protractor. And the fourth one, default timeout interval, this belongs to a Jasmine. This has nothing to do with Protractor or Selenium. Okay, so let's see what is the Selenium server start timeout. So basically this Selenium server start timeout occurs only when it takes more time to connect to the server. I hope you guys remember that we will be having a what do you call that, driver servers. Let me show you. Eclipse programs, I have stored it somewhere here. Okay, see here I have Gecko driver, Chrome driver, IIE driver, and this is the Microsoft web driver. Basically it's a edge driver. So whenever we run our scripts, normally in conf file we will be connecting them using a Chrome driver option or Selenium server jar. Okay, so these are the things we will connect. So when we connect to them, it will take little time. Okay, so these times are also monitored. Sometimes it may take like minutes to start. So in such cases, if we want to fail, then we can provide this kind of timeout. The timeout is Selenium server start timeout, basically, which is nothing but here we have given the jar file, right? This Selenium server jar file, so which is present here. Let me show you the jar file. So this is the jar file I'm trying to access. Okay, so from the conf file I have given the Selenium jar location. Now when I run the Protractor, it will try to start that particular server. Okay, so basically it will request it to start, and the Selenium server will get started, but you can't expect like in that millisecond it starts. It may take like 2 or 3 seconds or sometimes more than that. Okay, so if that particular thing takes more time, like the process to invoke that particular server jar takes more time, then we can provide a timeout to stop the execution or fail the execution. Okay, for that purpose we have to use Selenium server start timeout. Okay, this is the one we are going to provide. So here I am trying to provide 2 seconds of time to get for this particular Selenium jar to open and set it up, so that Protractor starts executing. Okay, if it doesn't start in 2 seconds, then this particular execution will fail. Okay, so here I'm having a basic example, like I'm just trying to navigate to angular.io. okay, so this is more related with Selenium server jar, so it doesn't have anything to do with our describe block or it block. So let's run it. What happens when I give 2 seconds time for a Selenium server to start? Okay, so most probably it will start, but there is a chance that it may fail. We can't detect anything. It will be based on your operating system and the configurations of your laptop or your desktop. So it started within 2 seconds. So we didn't had any failures. It was able to start in 2 seconds. Now let me give like only 2 milliseconds, which is very less. So definitely it will fail, because within 2 milliseconds it never gets started. Okay, it's listening, trying to invoke. See, now you get an error called timeout waiting for WebDriver server at this particular location. Okay, so this is the error you get because it was not able to start within 2 milliseconds. Okay, if you are able to see this marker, this is the error which happened because of this time. Okay, let's make it as a 20 and then run it. So it's starting to listen. Again it failed. See, the same error you are getting, right? So this is the only reason we are setting like how much time it should take to start. If it doesn't start within that time, we want to fail or we want to stop the execution. So for that reason we will be providing Selenium server start timeout. Okay, so let me give it as 20 seconds. Okay, so in Protractor every timeout takes in milliseconds. Okay, not in seconds. You can't mention the what unit it should take also, because Protractor only accepts milliseconds. Now I have given 20 milliseconds. It should be able to invoke this Selenium server jar within 20 seconds. Now let's run it. So I started to listen now. So it was able to open, and now it will navigate to angular.io page, and the test is success. Right? See, 1 spec, 0 failures. We don't have any failures. So let me recap it. So Selenium server start timeout is only to specify like how much time a Selenium server jar file should take to get invoked or to get connected with the Protractor. Okay, for why it should get invoked or why it should get connected with Protractor? To open the browser. That is the main thing for criteria for testing our web applications, right, in Protractor. Okay, so this is all about Selenium server start timeout. It's for this particular jar file. Okay, if you are guys are using like WebDriver manager.update, then you people might not have this particular line explicitly, but it will be present in your global npm package, which you can find it like if you go to run. Here you can something like app data. Okay, so this is the path where you will have that WebDriver manager. Okay, once you open the roaming, now you go to npm. Here you have npm. So this is common for all Windows users. You can go with the, again I'll tell you that percentage app data percentage. Okay, see here we have a WebDriver managers. Basically this points like where this WebDriver manager is present. So it will be present inside the Protractor, maybe inside node models again. So here WebDriver manager, see here we have, and in this one also we will be having those bin files, something like here. See here we have all the files. So if you are not using this, basically I'm trying this one, right? So basically if you are not using this particular parameter, then automatically your system will try to get the jar from here, which is common for all the installations. Okay, in all the systems, irrespective of your organization, it will always install C user app data roaming npm node models Protractor and node models WebDriver manager Selenium. Okay, so basically once you hit start and then go with the percentage app data percentage. Okay, this is the command I used. Okay, once you open it, it will come to roaming. From the roaming, it will inside npm you have to go to node models, then Protractor again node models. I guess we are going in circles. Here we will have WebDriver manager, and inside WebDriver manager you will have a folder called Selenium, and here you will have all the driver servers and Selenium standalone jar file. But in my case I don't want to depend on the default one, so I have explicitly given this jar file here. Okay, so which is in a different path. So we have seen the first timeout, which is Selenium server start timeout. It's pretty big name to read also. Okay, second one is allScriptsTimeout. What is allScriptsTimeout? Basically allScriptsTimeout will work only on Angular applications. Just remember guys, allScriptsTimeout will work only in Angular applications. It will not work in non-Angular applications. Okay, so that's why I'm navigating here angular.io. Sometime back I was trying the same thing on google.com. It was not working. Okay, so and the second part, so we know now we know that it works on Angular applications, but where it works, so whenever you write an async command, okay, you will have async operations in Protractor, because if you have noticed keenly, Protractor returns your promises whenever you use like any fetch attribute, something like get attribute, get text, or get CSS value, or get title, get URL, whatever you use, it will return the promise. Basically resolving this promise, you will use then block, right? So that is a synchronous process. Something like, let me retry browser dot get title. Okay, so basically, as you guys might be aware by this time, get title will fetch the title from the page. Okay, if see I am in my page only, see here whatever you have, right? So this will be your title. So get title dot then, so it will return a asynchronous result, basically a promise. So you have to resolve it. So that's why I'm using a then block, and then I'm using something for title, then I have opened. So this is a thing called asynchronous operation. Okay, so this allScriptsTimeout works for each and every asynchronous then block. Basically it works for then blocks. Okay, each and everything. It doesn't mean like all the then blocks should take only this much time. It means that every then blocks max to maximum can take only this much timeout, which is we will be providing in conf file. So it's always better to provide this allScriptsTimeout in conf file. So now I have not given anything. Now let me add browser dot sleep here. Sleep of something like 5 seconds would be fine, right? For you guys, you guys have 5 seconds, I guess, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching my waste videos. It is fine now. So I have added 5 seconds of sleep. So I have not, so let's remove this Selenium server also. Now let's run this program. So we do not have any time limits here. So what should happen is, like, it should go to the Angular application, and then it should try to fetch the title, and we are not printing, and don't worry about like printing. Okay, so we are only worrying about this timeouts. So let's run it. It will not print anything, but it will try to fetch the title. So if you forgot, we are looking at allScriptsTimeout topic now. So it opened the browser. Now it's going for Angular application. So it opened. Yeah, everything is going fine. Now let's see what's the result. See, it went and it brought the title. Okay, now it is success, 1 spec. Okay, and 0 failures, which means like we have 1 it block and we had 0 failures, right? Why? Because we have not given any time limit. Okay, here we have 5 seconds of sleep. Now let's add this allScriptsTimeout sleep in a conf file. Let's go to your conf file and add it here, saying that, so here I have given like 5 seconds of sleep, right? Okay, so in this total block may some x time. Okay, now as we have added 5 seconds of sleep, so it will definitely have x plus 5 seconds of time. Okay, so now we will try to give allScriptsTimeout lesser than this sleep. Okay, something like 3 seconds. I am giving here as a 3 seconds. Okay, after the timeout you have to give a comma because there are other parameters, right? So here I am giving allScriptsTimeout as 3 seconds, which is nothing but 3000 milliseconds. I'm not very good with math, but little. Okay, now it should open the browser. Opened. it should go to Angular docs. After going Angular docs, then only it will fail. You know why? Because it will wait for this Angular what do you call that, this particular block. Only it is applicable for this block, not to this particular area. So it is passed, not sure why, but it is passed. So let's remove little and try to execute it. Even I'm not aware of all the things. Sometimes we will miss it. So in that case we can't do anything. Now here, if you see, we have a timeout waiting for asynchronous Angular task to finish in 0.03 seconds. Okay, so this is what we have given here, 0.03 seconds. Okay, 30 milliseconds. So it waited for 30 milliseconds and the then block is not over, because of which we got this particular exception. Okay, so now you know, like, when we get this particular exception, right? Timeout waiting for asynchronous Angular application tasks. So whenever we have allScriptsTimeout, okay, we have set some value to this allScriptsTimeout, and but this then blocks, basically asynchronous blocks, takes more time than the given allScriptsTimeout, then Protractor fails them, telling that whatever the error we have seen, it's a big error, I was not able to remember. Timeout waiting for asynchronous Angular applications are finished after 0.03 seconds. Now let's increase this one into 30 seconds. So what I mean is, like, every then block can take maximum of 30 seconds. So that's what here we are going to mean. Okay, that's what we are meaning. So I am giving 30 seconds, but it takes if we consider like then block takes 1 second, and if we consider like browser.sleep takes 5 seconds, then it would be something like 6 seconds, right? So now, as you guys wish, let me add the console, because you guys might be thinking like he is running some other test but he is telling this thing, right? I know, because I will feel the same, not shame but same. Okay, so I'm trying to print the title. Now let's run it. With this one we will be able to understand allScriptsTimeout. So this time it should pass, because we have given the timeout of 30 seconds and then block takes maximum of 6 to 7 seconds. So it opened the Angular docs. Now it will fetch the title. It's waiting because we have added sleep. See, we have a pass and the title is Angular. Okay, so now you guys are clear about allScriptsTimeout. Basically it is applicable for each and every single asynchronous block. Asynchronous blocks are nothing but the blocks which you use for resolving a promise. Okay, so every fetching activity in Protractor will give you a promise. So to get the values, you have to solve it using a then block. Okay, so you guys might have a doubt, like, you said it doesn't work in Google, right? So let's try it. So for non-synchronous pages, we have to set this ignore synchronization into true, and then we have to go with Google. Let's go with google.com. okay, so this one is for, I'm setting it for asynchronous what do you call that, non-Angular applications. Okay, this particular part, and I'm going to Google. Here I am waiting for 5 seconds and we have given 30 seconds, right? But we should give very less, like make it to 30 seconds, and now we are expecting the test to fail. Okay, but we are executing it in a non-Angular application. Let's run it. It's opening Chrome. Open Google, it will fetch the title. Okay, now see, we have a past test, right? You know why? As I explained before, it doesn't apply to non-Angular applications. Okay, you can also think like whenever we set this value is set true, it doesn't set. You know why? Because for all the non-Angular applications we have to set this one into true. Okay, so whenever we set this browser.ignore synchronization, then all scripts timeout will lose its control over the scripts. Right, now third one is get page timeout. Here we can see it. Okay, so I was trying to explore this one more, so I was trying to put it inside this particular conf file, something like give it as a 20 seconds for a page to load, but it was not working. And where you have to put is, you have to put in a test case, but not this fashion. Okay, you have to use other way around. Okay, so basically this timeout is for we are giving a time limit for a page to load. So how will you decide a page to load? Sometimes you might seem like here the rounding thing will, you may think like you will have some processing something like, let me refresh it, see here this round. So if this round stops, you may think like the everything is loaded, but that's not true. Let's inspect the page and let me show you that when the thing gets loaded. Okay, so we are in a network tab. Okay, now let's refresh it. It will go a couple of things, it will download a couple of files. Okay, now it downloaded everything. Okay, so this is when you can say like the page is loaded. So how much time this page takes to load, that's what we are going to test. If it takes more than the given time, then we should fail. Okay, so it almost took like that's not the amount, total amount I'm not sure how to see it here, but normally I see it in a page called tools.com pingdom, tools.pingdom.com. Here I'll show you the same thing in a clear way. Okay, now go to this page. Now try to start. Okay, after pasting the URL, it will try to showcase you. Oh, it says like they are popular, we are in line 3. It will take like 2-3 seconds, just wait for it. Okay, so now it's running the test. I'll showcase you like what are the waterfall way of things are present in a website. Okay, so here you can see like how much time it took. The total load time is 3.41 seconds. Okay, so the number of requests, basically like downloading the fonts, downloading images, downloading the source file, these kind of requests are 70. Okay, now you can see it here like what are the requests present. Okay, these are the requests present. Something like here I have given the fonts, here there are Google ads, and then some PNG, what do you call that, image, and certain things are there. So why I was telling that is like we are trying to get how much time the page should take to load. If it takes more than that, we want to fail it. So for that purpose we will be using getPageTimeout. Okay, so as everyone says like you cannot use it something like here, something here. Okay, so here using something, okay, you cannot do that, and even you do it, it doesn't work. You might have seen the example, something like browser dot what is that, get not sure whether you have it here or not. Okay, this way you will write the timeout in your protractor, but listen, trust me guys, this one doesn't work. Okay, try it and you will experience the same, because for this video I have tried a couple of things, so that time I was able to understand it. The similar way, if you put it inside the conf file here, something like this, then also it will not work. Okay, it will not work guys. So the only place when it works is you have to put inside the timeouts browser dot manage dot timeouts dot, here you have to choose the page load timeout. Okay, here also we will be giving in a milliseconds, something like take like let's expect it should the page should load in 10 seconds, which means something like, what do you call that, 10 milliseconds. Okay, so we are trying to test it with non-Angular application. Okay, let's try and see whether it works or not. So this command is not required, so let's comment it, and now let's run it. So before doing all this guys, all this stuff guys, make sure that you are running the tsc-w command to compile the code, otherwise it's a waste of time. See, we have a failure here saying that timeout. Okay, so timeout, do we get any reason what kind of timeout it is? So we are not getting any answers, but that is the reason. Okay, so we are trying to make sure that this page loads in within 10 seconds. If the page doesn't load in 10 seconds, we want to fail it. So that's why we use page load timeout. So but this will take like more than 700 milliseconds or 1 second. Okay, now let's increase to 10 seconds. So this is 10,000 milliseconds, also you can say 10 seconds. Now let's try to test it, if this one passes or not. We'll get to know it. So the orange means it started running, blue means it stopped or it's not started. It's opening Google page. See, we have the test case passed and 0 failures. And one more thing, I was remembering. So no timeout will make you to wait for something. Okay, neither this Selenium server start or allScriptsTimeout or getPageTimeout, all these are used to fail a script. That is important. Okay, so the Google page loads within 10 seconds, so we have the test as passed. Okay, so it's not only applicable for non-Angular applications, it's also applicable for Angular applications. You can try it with https://angular.io. okay, and let me know guys. So the other one is default timeout interval. So far we have been seeing the timeouts from Selenium. Okay, we have seen 3 timeouts: Selenium server start timeout, allScriptsTimeout, and getPageTimeout. Okay, these 3, and we have the 5th one also. I'll explain a bit later because that doesn't work in current Protractor release. So before that, let's see like what is default timeout. Okay, this is from Jasmine. Okay, this doesn't have anything to do with Protractor. I hope you guys know that we can use Jasmine for anything. Okay, not only for Protractor, they can use it for unit testing or block testing or something like that. Okay, so now let's add this default timeout. So if you try to add it here, you may get error. You know why? Because this default timeout interval doesn't belong here. Okay, you may think like it didn't throw any error, and how come you are saying like it's not applicable here? Okay, because it's purely related with Jasmine, and if you want to try with this way, try. Okay, you may have nothing. Okay, so you always should write it inside here. If you write Jasmine, Jasmine. We are not getting any suggestions. Jasmine, hello god, Jasmine node. I guess this is the one. Oh, Jasmine node ops. So let me search it in Google. Okay, Jasmine node ops in Protractor. Let me get the syntax because I just forgot it. Okay, the same. I just missed the colon. I'm not much of a thing. Okay, so now here we can write it that default timeout. So here I have default timeout. Let's copy it and paste it, and we can give some value. So before starting execution, let's understand what is this default timeout interval. In your test cases, you have a eat blocks, right? In Protractor, if you are trying with the Jasmine, you have a eat blocks. Basically, these are nothing but test cases. Sometimes a describe block can contain multiple eat blocks. Okay, so this default timeout interval is applicable for only this particular eat block. How it applies is it is something like the maximum time one eat block can take. That's what a default timeout interval is. Okay, this is also in milliseconds. So here we are trying to do it in 10 milliseconds, but the browser itself takes more than 1 second. Browser.get itself takes more than 1 second or something like that, right? So let's remove this timeout which is not required. Okay, so we have a default timeout as a 10 milliseconds, and this will take more time. Now let's run it. The browser get will take more than 1 or 2 seconds. Oh, it opened the browser, open the Google. Ta-da, ta-da. See, we have a failure even everything is worked. See, Jasmine spec timeout, resetting the WebDriver control flow, which means nothing but we have exceeded the timeout. Here you can see the actual error message: timeout async callback was not invoked within the timeout specified by the Jasmine.default timeout interval. Okay, this happened because we have given only 10 milliseconds. So let's give 5 seconds. 5 seconds is 5000. Okay, we have given 5000, so it will not take 5000 seconds. So before that, let me put one more point. It is applicable for only individual 8 blocks. It never worries about this describe blocks. Okay, it only worries about how much time it takes for 8 block. Okay, I want you guys to be clear on it, otherwise it will be difficult. Okay, so now let's run it. So now we have 5 seconds time for execution of this particular 8 block. So this time, if this page loads before 5 seconds, then it should pass, otherwise it will fail. Yes, it went well. See, we have 1 spec and 0 failures. Basically, the comments inside the it block took lesser than 5 seconds. Okay, now let's comment this, uncomment this particular browser.sleep. Okay, so whatsoever the reason, this it block will take more than 5 seconds. Okay, as this one will take some x amount of time and this one will take 5 seconds, so it will take like 5 seconds plus x, so which will be more than 5 seconds, but the maximum timeout we have given is 5 seconds for the default timeout interval. So guess what should happen? Yeah, obvious, I've been telling the same thing. It should fail because it takes more than 5 seconds. Oh, it's revolving. Yeah, loaded. 5 seconds wait. Now let's see the debug thing. See, we have a failure. Okay, if you guys can see it here, we have a default timeout interval. Okay, because we are not able to call it within that particular given time. Okay, so let's make it to 10 seconds now. Okay, the total time we are giving for one particular it block is 10 seconds, and here we'll take like 6 to 7 seconds. Let's execute it. It opened the page. Now let's go to the result. See, we have 1 spec and 0 failures because the it block took almost like about 7 seconds and we have given 10 seconds of time per it block. Okay, so you might have one question. This is okay, or we can give the default timeout, but I have test cases where I have one test case has 10 lines of code, another test case has only 1 line of code, and another test case has 100 lines of code. So if I declare it here, how come I'll be, so basically if I declare it in conf, it will be applicable for all the it blocks. Okay, so how come I'll be able to distinguish between the tests? Because 100 lines of codes will not get executed within 10 seconds, right? So do we have any other way? If you are that person, if you are the person with that questions, yes, we do have a way. So there is one more way of giving this timeout, something like this. Okay, here we can give the timeout, maximum timeout per test case. Okay, so here let's make it to 1 second. Here we are waiting for default timeout of 1 second, but in this block I am giving a 30 seconds, which means like this total it block can take 30 seconds of time to get executed. Okay, as per this it block, but as per this one it should take 1 second. So let me add one more it block which doesn't take any parameter here. Okay, let's remove it. Let's open it something like, instead of Google, let's go for a Bing. Okay, Bing is also another search engine, guys. If you are not aware, I'm just kidding, you must be aware of it. Okay, so this we are giving a time of 30 seconds for this one, and for this one we are giving only 1 second, which is coming from the default timeout interval. Okay, so let's change this test name, something like Bing test. This one is Google test. Okay, let's run it now. So this particular thing can take 30 seconds maximum, and the second one can take only 3 seconds, sorry, 1 second from the conf. So it opened Google, it will wait for 5 seconds. Now it's opening Bing and it closed. So how many failures we have? We have one failure with 2 specs. Okay, one spec is passed, another spec is failed. Let's see which spec is failed. See, here you can see timeouts in Protractor Bing test. Okay, so this is the failure. Okay, basically this is nothing but your user story plus your test case name. This error messages, something like here we have like a timeouts in Protractor, right? So if you see it here, here you can see it, timeouts in Protractor. Till here we have from the user story, and the second one is from the test, Bing test. Okay, so this particular test got failed, but this one is passed because we are giving a timeout here, okay, in the test case, so which will override this particular default timeout only for that particular it block. Okay, so I hope you guys are clear about our timeouts. Okay, the first one is Selenium script, Selenium server start timeout, because this one is for connecting the Selenium server jar, and allScriptsTimeout is for every then block. Basically, whenever we have a synchronous block, resolving block, that time we will be using this allScriptsTimeout. And then getPageTimeout is the maximum time a page can take to load. So default timeout interval is like maximum time in it block can take. Okay, so the last and the final one, highlight delay. So this is an experimental feature, and this one doesn't work with Selenium, sorry, Protractor current version. Currently it is going with 5 or 6 or something, but it's not supported in that particular version. So basically I'll explain what it is. Like you have a clicking sending keys or something like that, right? So what this feature does is, like, before sending keys or clicking an element, it will highlight that particular element, okay, and it will wait for the given time. So it will accept some 10 seconds. or something like that. Whatever seconds you can give it, it will accept. For a moment's sake, if you consider like you have given 10 seconds, it will highlight that particular element for 10 seconds, then only it will perform the action on it. Something like you wanted to click a Google search, okay, but you have given the highlight delay of 10 seconds. Now what happens is, like when the protractor goes to the Google page, it will highlight that particular search button for 10 seconds, okay, then it clicks it. So this is what highlight delay, and this doesn't work, so that I can't even show it in system now. Okay, so you can get all these details from my website, which is chercher.tech/protractor/timeouts-protractor. You can find the description below. Okay, so if you have any other queries, you can directly shoot the thing to me. Okay, so I'll be able to give you some answers maybe. So that's all guys for timeouts. I hope Vikas would be very happy, because he is the one who requested for this particular video. Okay, so if you like this video, do whatever, maybe subscribe, and if you like the video, then you can share it. Okay, that's all. Bye. We'll meet in next video, which would be something like some video in Protractor. Bye.